Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. Today's video is going to be a first impressions and demo of the new KathleenLights Il Makiage palette collaboration. I am so excited to be filming this video for you guys. I already created the look that I have on right now, so if you just want to see me create the look, I will have timestamps on this video. You can either check the description box for the timestamps, or you can just slide the bar along to jump to that and it will tell you where that timestamp is. So if you're just looking for that, there you go. But I'm going to be showing you how it was packaged, kind of giving you my pros and cons on it, and just telling you a little bit about the collection in general. So let's go ahead and talk about the pricing before we jump into anything. I did not pick up the PR set. You can pick up the PR set, which comes with the palette and all 3 eyeliners that are available in the PR kit. That's like an album shape, for $119 US, or you can pick up the palette and 1 eyeliner of your choice. You can pick from any of the 3, and that bundle would be $85. Or you can pick up just the palette, and it will come with 1 sticker sheet for $72. So essentially you can get the palette alone for $72, but no matter what, it's going to come with a sticker sheet. Or you can pick up just an eyeliner for $22. First up, it came in this bubble mailer with this saying that says minimalism is dead. And honestly, like, I don't really like that saying. I think it's a little bit weird, but I just wanted to show you the bubble mailer. I also don't think there's anything wrong with minimalism. I think it's actually like a good thing. So anyways, inside of that was this box that just says Il Makiage New York. And then in this box, you of course have the palette. Now I only picked up the palette. It did come with 1 sticker set, so I have that, but I didn't pick up any of the eyeliners or anything. So this is just how that was packaged. So these are the stickers that I got with my palette. I honestly just picked this one because I really liked the colored disco ball. So yeah, that was the set that I chose. And then of course you have the palette and then just some plain black packing. It feels like little paper strips that are protecting the palette. So here's what the outer carton looks like. I do have a little bit of a qualm with this. It has like sticky residue on it, which I do not love. Like, just to be honest, I don't like that at all. I really do plan to keep this box because I'm going to be putting it in my makeup memory box. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll have the video linked in the down below, but I know that that's gonna go in there. I think that the sticker set got like stuck to it or something. I don't know. My husband actually opened the box for me when it came in the mail because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't damaged, and he was very sweet and sent me this picture to let me know that it was good. Like, look how cute he styled it and everything. I thought that was adorable. But anyways, I'm pretty sure that that's what the residue is from, but I was not the one to open it originally, so I can't say for sure. And I don't think he noticed. He said he didn't notice anything sticky on it, but yeah, there is sticker residue here, and I'm gonna see if I can get it off. I'll try and like put a note in the description when I try this and see if it'll come off, but that was honestly a little bit frustrating. But other than that, this is what the outer packaging looks like. So if you were interested in that, that's what the carton looks like that the palette's gonna come in. I typically don't keep these boxes, but I've kept a lot of packaging from Kathleen's previous collabs, so I do plan to keep this one as well. Okay, and here is the palette. This is honestly a lot harder to show because you guys are gonna be able to see the reflection here. But yeah, here's the palette, and it has this little piece that can slide on and off, so you can put your stickers here and then push this back on. It actually does have a pretty good lock feature, so it will actually stay in place. I was kind of worried that it was just going to slide off over time, but I think as long as you're not taking it on and off like 50 times a day, that you're gonna be fine. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but yeah, it actually does have like a pretty good lock and click to it, which makes me feel better about it. I think the packaging is cute, but I will say I would have rather personally it just been like decorated, because the thought of like putting the stickers on the palette is just like, well, then what if I don't like where I put them? Like, you probably can't move them. I would have probably just liked the palette to come the way that it comes. I don't really feel like the stickers are me thing, but this is what the palette looks like if you haven't seen it. I did already film this look, so of course some of the shades have been touched and used, so hopefully that is okay. But here's what it looks like. So this part here is kind of nice to hold, and then of course the palette will actually lift up there. It is pretty weighted. It feels very nice and luxe. And then here is the back of the palette as well. This has of course the shade names, and then it says it is made in Italy. Before I get into pros and cons, let's go ahead and just kind of talk about and show the swatches. Okay, I actually just filmed the swatch portion, and I did want to note that I do feel like it swatches a lot lighter than how I felt like it translated on the eyes. If you're looking at this thinking that is so light, like none of those shades are gonna show up, watch the actual tutorial part. The swatches are just like honestly not that impressive to look at that way, but I just wanted to note that I don't think that that's how they look on the eyes. So overall, I think that the quality of this palette is very, very nice. I did notice that the glittery shades are actually a little bit more dry than what I'm used to with a more metallic shade, but in a good way, and you can layer them on top of a glitter glue or something of that sort to get a really metallic look out of them like I did today. I will be showing you kind of both with and without glitter glue. So just wanted to mention that about the shimmer shades. The matte shades that I use on the eyes feel very nice. They all feel very buttery, which is my favorite type of a matte shade. So I'm very impressed as far as that goes. I feel like all of the bases are really covered here. The deeper shades can really be built up, whether you want a really light-handed application kind of style or a very heavy-handed and deep buildable formula. I think that it really does kind of cater to every type of neutral look that I personally would ever want to create, with the exception of a couple things. And I will get into that with my kind of review. But that's going to be it for the swatches, just like on the arm. So Il Makiage is considered cruelty-free with Cruelty-Free Kitty, and I really trust them as a resource. So I just wanted to put that out there that they are cruelty-free. This is the first and only thing I've ever tried from the brand. I didn't really have anything like making me want to purchase it on that side of things. This was just because of Kathleen that my attention would have ever been on this palette, is that it was hers. I have some thoughts about the palette. They're not all good, but they're definitely not all bad. Again, if you don't really care to hear like my specific thoughts about this, that's totally fine. I will remind you that I have timestamps. So my thoughts on the palette. Let's start with the pros. I kind of already mentioned this one, but I really love Kathleen Lights. Like, I trust what she puts her name on. I really feel like she comes out with a lot of really high quality things. So I have tried in the past her Dream Street palette, her Zodiac palette. Both of those were with ColourPop, as well as the So Jaded palette, all with ColourPop. And then I picked up a couple of the loose pigments from the Zodiac collection. The shade, the Libra, like the light pink shade in the Zodiac palette, was my absolute favorite that I picked up like 4 backups of that shade. Like, I have really, really supported her in the past, and I really just think that she comes out with really great stuff. I've always loved her color stories. I painted my nails like this right before filming. This is the Lights Lacquer polish in the shade Lavender Rain, and I just felt like it was very fitting for kind of matching the purple shade in the palette. So yeah, she does have her own nail polish line. I really just love a lot of the stuff she's come out with. So I do want to count that as a pro, because to me, like, that is a pro in my book. But I just wanted to mention that, like, I previously already have a lot of trust for Kathleen, really love her style of makeup. So the kind of palette that she would create is also going to tailor towards my preferences. So I'm actually really glad that this is a neutral palette. Everyone's like, you know, blah about neutral palettes, but that's what I use on the day-to-day basis. Don't get me wrong, I love a colorful look. I love my pastel palettes, my colorful palettes. I love those palettes, but I would personally rather spend a high price tag on a neutral palette than a colorful palette, because a colorful palette, for example, I have this palette from I Heart Revolution. This is their Mini Tasty Avocado palette. You can get this from the drugstore, and it is incredible. It's just great. The formula is great. Love the color story. But I only have used this like 3 times this year, roughly. So I would just rather not spend a ton of money on a colorful palette like that, just me personally. But I'm more okay with spending the higher price tag on a neutral palette or a neutral pink leaning palette, because that's like what I consider to be neutrals. So I'm just a lot more okay with that, like the Natasha Denona Glam palette, the Huda Beauty palettes. You know, that's kind of like what I would rather spend a lot more money on personally. So I don't really understand why everyone's kind of hating on Kathleen, it feels like, for this being a neutral palette. I'm here for it. I really don't mind. She has come out with some great palettes in the past, but even the Dream Street palette had those pops of blue in it. So I really didn't use the blues a ton, but I loved the neutral tones in that. So I am so glad that it's a neutral palette. That's just me personally. Also, after using this on the eyes, I can see why it took 2 years, honestly, because if you think about anything with supply chain, it's been taking a long time to get anything, and she was talking about how it took a long time to get the glitter that she wanted to be the way she wanted it to. So that makes sense, like, time-wise, but I'm glad that it took a long time, and I feel like it's reasonable because these shimmer shades really are unique. You can use them very lightly for like just a dusting of color, like she's mentioned, a dusting of glitter and sparkle, or you can really pack them up like I did, and it can be a little bit more metallic looking. So I actually do really think that it's a great formula. Another pro for me is that I've been so back and forth about the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 1 palette. The original one he came out with, I've been eyeing it for so long, and that palette is $68. So that's another thing. I just want to like throw this in there real quick. I'm going to be putting some pictures on the screen right now with prices, probably all from Sephora is where I've screenshotted them from. But I just want to like throw this out there that everyone's been hating about the price, which the price you'll see on my con list for a specific reason. But I just want to throw this out there that like everyone seems to be okay with spending this price tag on the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions palettes. Very similar, in my opinion, to the look of this one, just as far as like it's neutral, it's very high quality, it's very luxe feeling. This to me is like the replacement for the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 1. I have been going back and forth about that palette for so long, and the reason I didn't pick that one up is because I've heard so many people say that it creases on them, as well as the 2 cream shadows in that one I feel like I just wouldn't use. So personally for me, this is like the best of both worlds. This has the exact tones that I love to use, and I would much rather have, it's not an exact comparison, but I'm much happier to have like the pops of purple and pink here than the cream shadows. That's just like a personal preference, but because I got this palette, I don't think you're going to see me picking up the Patrick Ta one, because this to me is like the equivalent or the replacement for that. So I'm totally okay with the price for this when I consider it like that. I have not tried that one, I have swatched it, but based on my swatches, like I'm still excited to have this one, and I don't think I'm going to be picking up the Patrick Ta one. You also have more variety with this one. Okay. That was the thing. It's just like everyone seems like more okay with these products, especially Charlotte Tilbury, you guys. Like their liquid bronzers and blushes are like $40. This bronzer is $56 or something like that. Like so expensive. And don't get me wrong, like I have some of this expensive makeup. I really like some of this expensive makeup. So I just say all that to say, yes, this palette is expensive and it is $72, but Kathleen has come out with 3 palettes with ColourPop at this point. Actually 4, I think she came out with them like a long time ago. But those were all affordable, so like, you know. Okay, so the next thing is a pro and a con, and it is the packaging. I think the packaging feels very luxe, so in that way it's a pro to me. I do think it's cute how you can customize it if you're into that. It might not be my thing, but I can still appreciate it. So overall, I like it. Now, one thing that I was so excited for was this little bit right here. I was like, oh wow, you can hold the palette while you do your makeup, like that's great. And then I ordered it and it said it was shipped to me, and then all of a sudden I realized, why is everything for right-handed people? Like, this might be like a very minute personal problem, but I'm left-handed. So it's honestly kind of frustrating to me that this little part right here is on the left side of the palette because I am left-handed. So I still am gonna have to hold the palette with my right hand and dip my brush in on this side. So I'm just saying that if you're left-handed and you apply your makeup with your left hand, or specifically your eyeshadow, this might make you mad. Like, this is like my biggest con about the actual product. Like, not like the drama behind it or like the company or anything like that. Like the actual product, this frustrates me like a lot. Like a lot. Because if you're left-handed, you know that like everything is made for right-handed people. It's so annoying. And this is one of those things. I'm going to get off my soapbox here because if you're right-handed, you're just like, yeah, okay. If you're left-handed, you know what I'm saying. I wish that somehow I could just move this little piece over to this side. Like, that would have been the cherry on top for me. Like, if somehow, kind of like the little Nintendo game, you could like pop the side off and put on the other one. That would have been best for me, but having it on the side is just honestly kind of frustrating. And I've even I tried. I'm like, okay, well, I could hold it like up and down. The good thing is the mirror can go really flat. So if you want to hold it like this into your makeup, you can. I don't know how often I'm actually going to do that. But like, you know, you could definitely do that. Just hold it like up and down. Or you could hold it upside down, but then the mirror, you're going to have to like hold it really high up. So That is a con for me, like a huge con, because it's the only thing about the actual product that I don't like. Okay, so let's move on to just the cons, because for the packaging it was kind of like half and half, but the rest of these are just cons. Like I mentioned, I told you guys this palette's $72, so multiple problems with that, okay? I understand that it's a high price tag. I'm honestly okay with the price. I was expecting it to be more like the $55 to $65 range. Like, I didn't really think it was gonna cross above that. Like, I thought, okay, 50s and then maybe 60s. I did not think it was going to be in the 70s. Like, I really did not. It's in the 70s, like the disco, disco collection needed to be around 70s in the amount as well. I've already mentioned this, but like, I'm just more likely to spend money on a neutral palette. So that's like, I'm okay with the actual price tag. But what I'm not okay with is that it wasn't announced before the actual launch. And this is just my opinion on this, but I don't think that was Kathleen's decision. I really just don't. There are certain things that I just feel like are more so the brand than the creator or the collab person or whatever. Granted, she could have like maybe fought for it. We don't know. We don't know what happened behind the scenes, but all I'm going to say is like, just my gut tells me that that was like the brand's decision. They didn't want to post that. They didn't want to release the price until launch day. And that's just super frustrating, because if you're not in a place where you can just drop $72 on a palette, and maybe you're like setting aside $40 because you like think that that's going to be like roughly what this is going to cost. Il Makiage doesn't really have a lot of eyeshadow on the market that I know of, so I had no idea what this was going to cost. I'm not familiar with the brand. It just was kind of out of left field. So I just don't like that secrecy, because I feel like they were kind of banking on someone expecting to pay $40 or $50 and then seeing it $72 and saying like, oh, well, I really want it and I don't want it to sell out, but I'll figure it out and I'll buy it. That's just not right. I just do not like that. I kind of had the mentality that like, if somehow this palette was over $100, I was not going to buy it. But if it was anywhere under that, I was going to consider it. And when I saw 72, I thought, yeah, this is more than I thought it was going to be, but also like, I'm okay with it because I think I'll use this palette every single day. If it was a colorful palette, I would not have bought this. Like, that's just my opinion on it. So I really have a problem with the brand keeping it. I just truly just think that's like more on the brand. I don't know, that's just my own opinion. The other thing is that they just let the palette go a day early. I was signed up for the text messages, but I was like fully expecting to buy it on Thursday, and then all of a sudden Wednesday night, I'm in the middle of moving furniture and I get a text that it's available, and I'm like, what? And then I don't want it to sell out, because all of Kathleen's palettes that I know of have sold out in the past. I don't know what the situation is about to be. So that was just a little bit like weird. I get they were trying to include their people that sign up for text messages, but I would have rather the launch just like happen when it was supposed to happen. And if you want to have an early launch, like maybe like 20 or 30 minutes, but not a whole day in advance. I feel like that's more the brand. Like, I feel like the creator just wouldn't have that much of a say in like the launch of it. That's more so like behind the scenes, meaning luckily the creator doesn't have to like deal with that kind of legwork from an outsider's perspective. The other con is, because of the price, I was honestly really frustrated that you can only get one sticker set because I'm trying to order this palette, I don't want it to sell out, and you have to choose a sticker set between 4, and you're like, well, which one am I supposed to get? I just did not like that. I felt like if you're gonna have a sticker set come with the palette, like just make one sticker set and send it with every palette, and that's that. That might be like a little bit of like a minor thing, because like whatever, but personally I'm not going to be paying for an extra sticker set, which by the way, they will sell to you for $9 each. So for one sheet of stickers, which has like 6 to 7 main stickers and a couple little hearts, $9? Are you kidding me? I don't like that at all. Like, no, like I don't want that. I don't know. Personally, I would have rather the packaging just already been like ready to go. I feel like that was just another way to like add something else that you'd have to buy. Don't really love that. And I'm not about to pay $9 for 7-ish stickers. No, not gonna happen. So those are kind of my pros and cons. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I just really did not like how the brand side of things went. To me, the pros outweighed the cons, which is why I purchased it, the bottom line. That's just how that went for me. I also just feel like this is a palette I'm gonna use every single day. Like, that's the thing. I have all these colorful palettes from Nomad. I have my Give Me Glow Pastel Dreams palette, my Harvest palette from Profusion, which you can get a little bit more neutral looks, but all of these palettes that are like some of my favorite palettes, but Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, I'm not wearing those palettes. They don't fit into my work environment. They don't fit into my lifestyle. They don't go with the clothes I wear. And I like to dress like professional, you know, to work. And I like my makeup to most of the time reflect that. Like I will wear some shimmers, okay? But I like them to be like more neutral toned, maybe a little bit of color, but it's gonna be a very muted amount of color. So for me, I'm just honestly fine with it. So I'm very excited. I think this is a palette that I'm gonna dip into all of the time. I can wear this Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I can wear this on the weekends or later in the day. Nighttime looks, like I am so here for it. Those are kind of my thoughts and pros and cons on the palette, but let's jump into the look. Okay, so obviously I already have my face makeup on, and all I have on the eyes right now is concealer and then powder. And if you're wondering, for concealer, I use the Catrice True Skin concealers. This is pretty high coverage to cover like the veins I have on my eyelids. And then I set it down with my RCMA No Color powder. I feel like to try a new eyeshadow palette, I really want to try it over concealer and powder because I feel like that doesn't really ever alter or help the formula very much. And I want to give it like a pretty even, fair shot. At this time, when I'm filming the actual look, I have not even swatched this palette, so I am just like so excited to dig into it. I know you guys have already kind of heard my thoughts about it, but I don't know my thoughts yet, so I have not heard them. So I think I don't want to dig into the purple shade because I feel like every review I've seen and every tutorial, everyone just jumps for the color. And it's kind of like, you know, I get that the color's there. I'm really probably going to use that color a lot, but I honestly want to just create like a really beautiful, like neutral smoky eye and go for these kind of shimmers here. That's what's calling to me. It's what's been calling to me since I've seen the palette, and I want to use them. So I'm going to go into the shade called Later Days, which is the lightest matte shade. I'm using this on a Real Techniques base eyeshadow brush, and I want to just put this in the crease just to kind of see how everything will blend with it, because this is kind of like, for me, when I try a palette out, I want to just do the layout that I love, but I do want to make it like a glam neutral look because that's kind of the vibe that I get from this palette. So that's what I'm going to go for. There is not really any kick up in the pan in this shade, which I really appreciate because at least you are not wasting too much product. I don't mind it too bad when there is, like I don't really ever fault a palette for that, but to not have any is actually really nice. Okay, I kind of blended this one up to be my transition shade. This did not take long at all, and I'm still just kind of like blending it up to be a nice transition. And go into the shade Hello Wisconsin, which is the center one, which I just love the embossing, by the way, in these 3 shades this way, because they just remind me so much of Kathleen. I'm using the same brush, and I'm just kind of packing this on the outer part of the lid. And then when I have less product on the brush, I'm bringing it into the crease and also bringing it up a little bit, just kind of lightly blending it towards the brow as well. Okay, now with the same brush, I want to go into Baby Cool. This one's just a little bit deeper than the shades we were using. And I want to kind of do the same thing, but I'm not going to bring this one up quite as high. I think I kind of want to like drag the look out a little bit now that I'm thinking about it. Kind of bring it out a little bit more towards the edge of the brow. I feel like these are all blending really nicely, honestly. Next up, I want to go in with You're So Vain. Hopefully I'm not telling you guys the wrong names as I'm going, but like I'm pointing, so hopefully that's good enough for you guys. Again, I'm still using the same brush, and I want to pack this even closer to the outer edge. This is such like a Kathleen look, I feel like these browns. I always love her tutorials on these kind of looks. I can't tell you guys how many times I rewatched her videos, like her tutorials with her Dream Street palette and her Zodiac palette. I've probably given her like over 100 views just on those videos alone because I literally used to just replay them and try and recreate them all the time. So this is kind of like taking me back to that, which is just really cool. I also have just like a tiny dot that came down from the shadow. Super easy to wipe up. Like there's like no fallout with these matte shades. I do have a tendency to tap off shades like no matter what, so keep that in mind, but you know, I don't think that that's a bad thing to like tap your brush off, especially if you're gonna do your face makeup first. So I'm wiping the brush off on my leg naturally to get some of that pigment off, and I think I'm just gonna go back into the shade called Hello Wisconsin here in the middle, and I just want to use that to blend above this brown shade again. just like blend everything together a little bit. And then I'm also going to now go into that lightest shade. I didn't tap off the brush or anything. I didn't wipe off the brush or anything before going into this one, but I am going to tap the brush off as per usual. I just don't like to bring super bright or super deep colors, super high, a lot of supers here, up to my brow because I feel like it just gets a little too smoky. It's okay. As long as I keep this portion lighter, I feel like we're good. I'm just using the same brush. I haven't used another brush at all, just to kind of blend everything, make sure that we're still looking good. Okay, I do actually want to use one more brush and go into this deeper shade here. This one is called Ladies Night. This one is slightly deeper than the one that we put on the outer corner, and it's also more cool tone, I would say, whereas, I'm forgetting the names. The shade You're So Vain is more like neutral. This one just has a little bit more of a cool tone, undertone to it. So I just packed that onto the outer corner, and then I'm going to go back with the brush we've been using, not adding anything extra, and just blending it again. With that same brush, I want to run this along the lower lash line. Not adding anything else right now. I just kind of want to map out the look. Okay, one more time into Hello Wisconsin. I want to lightly use this to blend a little bit better right here in the middle. I don't think I blended enough right here, but that was user error. That was so easy to fix. Okay, how to decide. Okay, I think the one I'm the most excited about is Super Freak, which is the very top one. I thought this one was less gold, but I actually think it's a little bit more gold than the Copa, and just kind of like the more neutrally look, I think I want to go with that one. Okay, I'm just gonna use my finger. I don't have anything on the lid, so this is without NYX glitter glue, which, to be fair, I typically would not do. I pretty much always use glitter glue. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is really pretty. I don't think I have a formula that feels like this. I'm leaning more towards Hot Stuff, which is this one here, but I've heard so much about Funky Town, but I feel like I just want to use what I want to use, you know? Yeah, I think I'm going to use Hot Stuff, which is just such a pretty golden shade. I don't know which one. Okay, oh, maybe that one. This one. Let's do both. Let's add a little bit of this right here. I just can't decide. And then Funky Town on the outer corner. Yeah, there's a pretty good amount of fallout, of course, like they're glittery shades. So that's kind of to be expected, but wow, I actually am very, very impressed with these. I'm just gonna kind of blend them together. I'm so excited to see this with the glitter glue. Okay, so here is without glitter glue, but I honestly just feel like I will want glitter glue. I literally always use it with shimmer shades, whether they're glittery or not. Just love the way shimmers and glitters and everything apply over a glitter glue. So I'm just going to tap this all over the shimmer shades we just put down. I'm just going to use the same shades and go right on top of the glitter glue. Oh, wow. Okay. Not to be dramatic, but like these honestly are really pretty. All right, I want to really layer Super Freak kind of all over the lid, covering up a little bit of Hot Stuff just because I want the look to be more just neutral with a little bit less gold in it. So I'm kind of bringing it over top, but there's still going to be like a little hint of Hot Stuff underneath. I really, really like this. I think that this outer shade looks deeper in person. I think you can kind of see it actually looks like this amount of depth in person. Then I think it looks a little bit lighter, you know, when I put it towards the light, but this is more realistic to that shade. So I want to take the brush that I've been using this whole video and just kind of blend above the shimmer shades. And then I also want to take a little bit more of You're So Vain on that same Real Techniques brush. And I just want to pack this on the very outer part of the lid again, just to go ahead and bring that depth back just a little bit more. I really honestly love how this is looking. I want to put in a clip of the shadow with the flash on because I honestly just think that's so much fun to look at, like how something's gonna look in the flash, because I feel like really if you like go somewhere there's like dim lighting, like a restaurant or something, and then there's like a little bit of light, like when you turn your head, that's what it's gonna look like. So I really like to do the little flash video. I did not pick up any of the eyeliners with this collection because I just feel like they're kind of overpriced. I'm honestly just so in love with the NYX Epic Wear. I just don't think I need that. So that being said, I do want to put on this one. This is the shade Gilded Taupe. I want to put this in my waterline later days and just run this along the lower lash line. I think I'm going to take the shade, the Copa, in my inner corner with that same brush I just used for the lower lash line. Everyone has been saying like this is like the perfect inner corner shade. Well, either, I don't know if it was one or the lighter two. This is not light enough for me for an inner corner shade, so that kind of sucks. I'm getting a good bit of fallout with this glitter, by the way. I'm going to take the shade Super Freak, which is the one we put all over the lid, and just kind of add that on top of the Copa as inner corner. I have to disagree with that. I don't think this is perfect for everyone, but it's hard to have one shade be a perfect inner corner highlight for everyone. But that is way, in my opinion, way too deep to be an inner corner highlight for me. I'm trying to wipe away the fallout, but there definitely is some glitter kind of like remnants. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and load up the mascara and then I will be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look. I went ahead and added, of course, mascara. I used the REM Beauty Lengthening Mascara. And then for lips, I used the NYX Nude Suede Shoes Lip Liner and then the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Lipstick. So overall, I honestly really love how this look turned out. There was a good bit of fallout, but I typically would do my eyes first if I was doing like a colorful or intense eye look. And I would classify this as like a little bit more intense with the shimmer or like glittery type shades. I feel like this is actually pretty unique. And I know I've already kind of like told you guys a little bit of my thoughts, but I just feel like this really did create a very, very beautiful, like neutral kind of smoky look. And it's very dimensional, like it looks a lot deeper, and then when the light hits it, it's a lot lighter. So it's very nice. I am honestly really excited with how this look turned out. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed kind of hearing my thoughts on this palette, the pros and cons, and also seeing me create this look. My first impressions review is honestly pretty positive about the palette. I'm very happy for Kathleen. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I will definitely be featuring this palette more on my channel. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!